The skills and concepts we talk about on this channel aren't only confined to our personal lives, right? They apply at work, at school, in our relationships, and how we build our communities. With so much racism and misogyny and inequality and bigotry and poverty and disregard for the environment seemingly on the rise around us right now, I thought now is a really good time to talk about how we get engaged in building healthy communities. Now, I want to talk about three things today. The first is going to be compassion, the second is understanding, and then the third is action. After the US election this past fall, I saw a lot of articles that said things like we need to understand the fears and uncertainties that motivated people to act and vote the way they did. And fear and uncertainty is something that we understand very well in here. We're always talking about fear and uncertainty as a thing that motivates so many of the mental health challenges we struggle with. Compassion comes from a Latin word that means to suffer with. And we know that when people are reacting to fear and uncertainty, that creates a lot of suffering. Right? We have been there. We have made those decisions that have then caused so much suffering in our lives and the lives of those around us. We know what it's like to get stuck digging that bottomless pit of self-destructive behaviors as you try to get rid of your uncertainties and anxieties, and you just keep digging deeper, and the amount of uncertainty and anxiety and suffering in your life just keeps increasing. You just think, I just have to dig a little deeper and I'll get there, and you never do. And that's always fueled by fake news, right? The lies and the fake news that your brain feeds you about yourself and the world around you, and you know what it's like to experience that and react to it by trying to control your uncertainty, trying to control fear, and harming yourself in the process. So we can have compassion for people who react to fear and uncertainty with violence. We've done it to ourselves, we've done it to our family members, we've done it to people around us. Because we can have compassion for that, we can also bring understanding to this situation. We understand that those reactions to fear and uncertainty always cause more suffering. They never work. They always cause more of the problems that we think we're trying to solve. Bring to this situation your understanding of the seemingly rational reasons our brains always come up with to excuse our self-destructive compulsions. Why this time feels different. Why this fear feels real. Why I just need to do this right now, but in the future, I'll do the things I value. In the future, I'll be able to care for other people. Once I've resolved this fear, once I've figured out what's going on, then I'll be able to take care of others. But right now, I need to get rid of this fear. We know what that's like. We know how our brains invent those reasons and those excuses, and they always seem rational. But those feelings we're chasing never come. Right? That relief from uncertainty, that security that we're seeking, we just keep digging ourselves deeper down that hole. Always sure, we just have to dig a little bit deeper, and then we're going to be ourselves. Then we're going to be kind to others. We build better mental health on the understanding that we accept the uncertainties and the fears and whatever it is that our brain is throwing at us, and we do the things we value. That is true in our personal lives, that is true in our communities. We do not build healthy communities reacting to uncertainty and fear, just like we can't build a healthy life for ourselves reacting to uncertainty and fear. So when you hear people excusing racism and misogyny and trying to rationalize them away, and trying to spout reasons why violence and bigotry of any type is okay in this situation, when you hear people saying that we just need to give exclusion and violence a chance, we just need to see if they're going to work out, bring to that your understanding, your lived experience of reacting to fear and uncertainty. You know that does not work. You know we don't have to give them a chance to work out. We've seen that they do not work. You know how convincing your brain can be when it wants you to destroy your life. Bring that same understanding to the arguments you hear around you to hurt others and destroy your community. So let's talk about action then. What do we do in a situation like this? We do the same thing we would do in any situation where we put our time and energy into the things that matter to us. At home, at work, at school, in our communities, around the world. It's so important to recognize that health doesn't end at the individual. Right? We can't have health unless we're also looking at health in a much broader context. We are part of these large, complex systems. And when those systems aren't healthy around us, that affects us and that affects our health. We know that we have to take care of our physical health, right? Our physical fitness. If we don't spend time on it, it deteriorates. We know that we have to take care of our mental health. If we don't actively take care of it regularly, we can't expect it to be there. It's only natural to struggle with a mental illness. If you, specifically you, are not taking care of your community, we cannot expect it to be in great shape. It is like anything else. If you are not actively taking care of it, expect it to be in terrible shape. Expect it to be sick. So here's my challenge to you. Get engaged in making your community a healthier place. And actually set aside time for it, very intentionally. This isn't something we can be too busy for or hope to do in the future. And it's not enough to just sit back and say, oh, well, at least I'm not doing these horrible things. I don't agree with those things they say. I'm not committing violent acts. I'm not a racist. I'm not a homophobe. I'm not a misogynist. That's great. Congratulations. Bravo. You're not a horrible person. I didn't rip the head off of a baby panda this morning. Where is my medal? How are you actively engaged in the opposite of violence? How are you actively engaged in the opposite of racism or sexism? How are you actively engaged in the opposite of inequality? The absence of racism or homophobia or misogyny in your life is not the presence of equality in the community around you. The absence of violence is not the presence of peace. Peace is something we have to actively work on. And these can't just be wishes and hopes. They have to be actions. We have to take our time and energy and pour it into doing what we value. And pour it into creating healthy communities around us, for everybody around. And this is tough. This is really hard work. And it's just like physical health. It's just like mental health. We have to push in to very uncomfortable feelings. We have to embrace uncertainty, and through all of that, stick with our values. But we can support each other in doing this work. We can support each other in taking action. Share down below in the comments about the things that you might be thinking of doing in your community to help make it a healthier place, or maybe wherever you work, or at school, or even just at home. Every time we can take a step forward to make our community, however we define it, a healthier place, that's something that benefits us, that's something that benefits those around us, and we know that helps to alleviate so much of the suffering that we've seen ourselves struggle with when we're reacting to fear and uncertainty. And so bring that compassion and that understanding and that action to those around you, and enjoy it.